Oh, Jesus.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Kieran.
I've got some great news.
What is it, Kieran?
Remember Bounty Hunter?
Yeah?
It's coming back.
Is it?
It is.
I love Bounty Hunter.
Well, I think you're the perfect person for our hype trailer. Remember all those Bounty Hunter videos you used to make?
What's up, dudes? It's Chris, and welcome to my very first ever Bounty Hunter video. It is packed. Look at this. It's absolutely awesome.
Oh, God, no, Kieran. I'm a changed man. I don't do that kind of thing anymore. Bounty Hunter is back and better than... Line?
Than ever, Archie. Better than ever.
Welcome to episode 237 of the Wilderness Podcast. I am your host, Dills. I am back from my break from the podcast. It's been about a month. I've recorded this beginning part so many times. I've planned out how I was going to start this episode like 3 or 4 different ways. Every single time it's been scrapped. Because I'm just not really sure how to start this episode off. But it had been about a month, and I figured we should just hit recording and let's just, I guess, talk about it. So first things first, unfortunately, myself and Heartless had a bit of a falling out. We decided to split ways from both the clan and the podcast. This clan is this thing that's been built up from the podcast over these few years. You know, over the years, the clan has been growing, which was always really cool. The clan has been something that I was always like super proud of and something I really loved. And I always attributed my continuous playing of the game because of the friendships I made from the clan. And, you know, I often struggle with things, whether it's like mental health or, you know, just stress, whatever it is. We all deal with these problems. And, you know, I often look to the clan for support, whether it's direct or indirect. Sometimes it was as simple as like, I can't sleep at night. I'm riddled with anxiety. So I log onto RuneScape at midnight and I see a bunch of people playing and talking in the clan. And I would just do Temporos, or maybe I would just go fish or woodcut, do something pretty chill. Maybe not even talking in the clan, but just seeing others made me feel a little bit less alone, which always helped me when I was in a tough time. And I know others have done the same because they have said so. And I always felt like the clan was always kind of important to me. And I wondered if it was important to me, if it was important to others as well. So cultivating that positive environment was always super important for me. But that environment was starting to be not so positive all the time. And to make a long story short, he ended up leaving the clan to start his own clan. I hope for nothing but success for him and his new clan. And I hope the RNG gods bless him with some awesome uniques. I hope the next time I bump into him, he's decked out in full Torva and he's fully green logged Nex. He's finally left that prison. You know, I had a great time recording the podcast with him. And I'll cherish those memories. But yeah, okay, I think we got through it. I wasn't sure how I was going to say it. You know, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and something like this I've seen it happen as a listener. I've been there where there's a show that I really liked, and then next thing you know, the co-host from the show I really liked just isn't there, and you're like, oh, what happened? And sometimes some shows would say what happened, other shows wouldn't, and that would have me going to Twitter or Reddit or Discord to try to figure out, oh, I want to know what happened. You know, I'm a little nosy like that. It's because I like to watch that trash reality TV. I get a little nosy. I want to know what's the drama? What's the scoop? Tell me what happened. Being on the other side of it, where it's like you're kind of like having to deal with it, significantly less fun. I'm going to tell you that right now. Watching like drama happen can sometimes be entertaining. It's like the exact opposite when you're having to deal with it. Who would have thought that? Not fun at all. So things got a little spicy in the Discord. There was a weekend where things got pretty rough. Anyways, speaking of which, we do have a lot to talk about. Bounty Hunter. That's the episode. That's the theme for today. Bounty Hunter is what we're going to talk about this episode, and we'll talk about a little bit about PKing as well. I think that was an awful segue, but this has been the best take so far. At this point, we just need to get into the RuneScape topic of the day. So guys, Bounty Hunter is back. And this is something that was teased about in one of the summits. My brain's a mess right now. Holy shit. This was teased about earlier. This was one of the big updates this year, and it finally came out last month. Well, this month. I don't know. So you might be asking yourself, Dills, I've been playing this game for like 3 years now. What in the fuck is Bounty Hunter? Bounty Hunter was this way you could PK, right? I always say there's 3 pillars of RuneScape, at least old school RuneScape. There's like 3 main pillars. You've got skilling, which I think is the essence of old school RuneScape, the foundational, I don't know if that's a word, but the most foundational aspect of RuneScape is its skills. It's what makes RuneScape so unique. You have these 23 skills, and it allows you to interact with so much in the game. Soon enough, it'll be 24. So skilling is one of the pillars. PVMing is the second pillar. All right, with some of these skills, you can kill things. You can kill monsters. People love killing stuff. The third pillar is PvP, although we call it more PKing, player killing. Or if you're a buddy that I grew up with who taught me all the wrong pronunciations of this game, peeking. Peeking is the third pillar I found of this game. But that's like super common in like so many games. PvP is in like every game these days. But what makes RuneScape so unique when it comes to PvP is that you have this element where it's called the wilderness or PvP worlds. But let's stick to the wilderness because the podcast, it's the kind of the branding. It's the wild, wild west. There is no rules when you step over that ditch into the wilderness. There's a few rules, but if you see another player, you have the ability to fight them. And if you kill them, you don't just win the fight, you win the loot they had on them. That's really unique when it comes to MMORPGs. I've played a bunch of MMORPGs. Most games do not have that. Most games, when you kill somebody, you don't just get to take all the loot that they've worked hard for and purchased or whatever it is. World of Warcraft or Guild Wars, or I was going to say MapleStory, but they had this weird PvP system that you didn't really fight other people. You fought monsters that were spawned by other people. Doesn't matter. When you killed them, all you really did was win points. And you got these points that you could then, sometimes you could spend it on different armors or whatever it was. Maybe it pushed the objective of this battleground thingy you were participating in. But most MMORPG games did not have the PvP system that when you got killed by somebody, you lost everything you had on them. It's a pretty wild, that's a pretty intense system. And it's why I fell in love with PvP. It's something I fell in love with back in the day. It was one of the most one of the biggest motivators I had when I played RuneScape. Everything I did in this game was because I wanted to PK one day. So my account build, I made sure my account was super optimal for PKing. A lot of us know this, but that's something that developed from having this system. People make accounts that are meant just for PKing. You can min-max the fuck out of your account so that you can dish out as much damage as possible. That's a pure. That's why we have these pures. But in 2007, guys, we're going way back. We're going back like 15 years. 2007, to combat real world trading, Jagex got rid of the wilderness, which means no more PKing was in the game. That sucked. I quit the game because of it. And a lot of people did quit. That was a big move to make that decision. So we're going to fast forward a little bit because people love PvP. They love PKing in RuneScape. Jagex was like, shit, we should probably find a way to bring this back into the game. But we can't just let people kill people willy-nilly because they're trying to prevent people from free trade, which means if I have 100 mil, I can't just give it to someone because that's really easy for somebody to just buy gold online, right? That's what they were trying to stop, was real world trading. If you want 100 mil, you got to go work your ass off for it. You can't just go steal your mom's credit card, run to buy.runescapegold.net, purchase it from some person from across the world, probably get scammed. Hey, but you know what? You got 100 mil for like $25. Your credit card information got stolen, and that's going to be used in like 5 years to really fuck your life up. But in the meantime, you got 100 mil. Go buy some cool shit with it. That's what they wanted to stop. So they got rid of real world trading, which means they got rid of trading, which means PKing got involved as well, because, hey, you know what? Okay, so what? You can't trade each other? I'll just kill this person in the wilderness and take all their loot, which includes this 100 mil I just purchased. But people still wanted to PK. So Jagex decided to bring it back in this mode called, I think it was called Bounty Hunter right away. And it was this crater in the middle of the wilderness where you could go in, and instead of just being able to kill anybody you wanted, you got paired up with somebody else. That was like the essence of it. Anyways, as time goes on, Jagex brought back free trade because I guess they figured, okay, we can probably find a better way of doing this. Maybe they did, I'm not sure. But Bounty Hunter stayed. People love this system where like you could get paired up with somebody else and now the two of you have to fight. And they made it cool. They added like this emblem system so that when you kill somebody, you had a chance at getting an emblem, and then this emblem was worth points, and you could either exchange it for points or you could hold it in your inventory and fight somebody else. And if you killed another person, then that emblem had a chance at growing and you could keep growing it. You know, it was a pretty cool system. It was a really high risk, high reward. If you're a good PKer, sure, I'm gonna try to kill 10 people in a row and grow this emblem. So it was a pretty cool system, but the problem was with these emblems, people found out, hey, I could just bot or boost where you basically just farm these level 1 emblems by like getting like level 3s to fight each other, and then you get these emblems, you can sell them, and it became a way for somebody to make a shit ton of money and probably real world trade. It always comes back to real world trading. But the problem was bad. It was so bad that Jagex was like, we need to just straight up remove Bounty Hunter from the game. And they did. And they said they were going to bring it back. But then like 3 years went by and it never came back. It came back for like 3 or 4 months or something. I wasn't playing at the time, so I kind of missed it all. But they removed it like so quickly because apparently it was even worse when they brought it back. So the botting problem and the real world trading problem caused Bounty Hunter to get removed. Then it created this weird problem. And I don't really know if I have the answer to it. Let's talk it through. Maybe we'll figure it out as we go. But Bounty Hunter always felt really casual when it came to PKing. Yeah, there were some really good PvPers. There's a few times where you would kill somebody, or I should say, I would kill somebody. And then as I'm looting the body, somebody comes up and AGS specs me and instantly kills me. That sucks. It's frustrating. But I was able to get kills when I was learning. It was 2017 when I started learning how to PK and beat Bounty Hunter. And yeah, you got a good mix of people. And I think the way the Bounty Hunter system I think it just encouraged like people to learn how to PK. But then they removed Bounty Hunter, and the place people went to go have these 1v1 fights was in PvP worlds at the Grand Exchange. It's just convenient. It's right out of bank. It's just super convenient for PKing. I don't know why, but with no Bounty Hunter, a lot of casual players stopped trying to PK, which means when you went to go PK, everyone there they were really skilled. They were really good at PKing, and it made it so hard to learn how to PK. I have a level 1 defense pure. He's pretty good. It's a pretty good account. Like I'm done leveling it. I call it complete. It's basically complete. There's one more quest I have to do, but it is pretty strong. If you can PK well, it's a pretty strong and optimized account. But PKing deep in the wilderness where it's like there's no rules at all, you can, prayer protections are on, all these things are all like when you're in the deep wilderness and you're PKing, it's a way different experience than it is PKing in Bounty Hunter or PKing at the Grand Exchange. So it's these 1v1 fights, whereas when you go deep into the wilderness, it's anything goes. You can throw protection prayers on, you can eat to full health. Actually, it's probably best to like keep your health pretty high because really it's a fight of endurance as well. When you run out of food, you're gonna die. Whereas Bounty Hunter PKing, when you run out of food, you're gonna teleport, you're gonna leave. So getting into the Grand Exchange PKing was really hard because everyone's really good. On my pure, I got KO'd so quick every single time. It was really hard for me to actually learn how to get better. I had to like meet people and be like, can you train me? Can you teach me how to PK? And watching videos and practicing all these things. And even then, wasn't enough to make me a better PKer. I switched to my main account to go PKing. The problem, now you're risking much more money and the people you face are still really good. I was trying to learn how to use Darok PKing and I probably lost over 100 mil within a couple of weeks. I died so many times. I was recording my fights and I would stop to watch them to figure out how the fuck am I losing so much? What am I doing wrong? Turns out there's a lot. I'm doing a lot wrong. And eventually I said, you know what? Fuck it. This is like kind of fun, I suppose, but I'm sick of losing. I'm sick of losing money. This is kind of bullshit. This isn't fun. People tell you, well, just get good. No, I don't have to get good. I'm just not going to do it anymore. I'm going to go PVM. And people can tell me to get good there. That's fine. At least I'm not really losing money. I'm just losing time. A lot of people did that. A lot of people were like, I'm not improving. I'm not getting kills. This is not fun. So fuck it. I'm not going to PK anymore. Which meant the PKing community, when it came to like the Grand Exchange or 1v1 fights, the bounty hunter community became smaller and smaller as time went on. It was so bad that I met somebody and they gave me 5 mil worth of gear on my peer and they said, I am going to teach you how to PK. Okay, let's hop on a Discord call. We're going to spend the next couple of evenings learning how to PK. I'm going to teach you how to Gmaul spec. I'm going to teach you how to combo eat. I'm going to teach you all the things you need to know to PK on your peer. And he gave me 5 mil from it. I met this guy on Reddit and I was like, why? Why are you giving me all this money? Why are you spending hours on hours teaching me how to fight at the duel arena? And he said, the PvP community is dying and we need new people to join. We need new faces to join to come PK at the Grand Exchange. It's the same people every time. And if it's not growing, it means it's only dying. It's kind of sad, right? That's really, really sad. Imagine trying to do a raid like Theater of Blood. You need at least 3 people to do Theater of Blood, but you can't find anybody. There's nobody doing Theater of Blood. Eventually, you're just going to stop trying to do Theater of Blood and you're going to move on as well. The fact that it's dying, not only it's a snowball effect. I got a virtual reality headset, an Oculus Rift, and I think it's pretty cool. There's a lot of cool games that I like to play with it, but most PvP games or like online games are dead. Nobody plays it. And they might be really good games, but if it takes you 10 minutes to find another person to play a game with, eventually you're going to say, fuck it. You know what? This game isn't worth waiting the 10, 20 minutes to find a match. I'm just not going to play it. And then that in itself just causes it to be dead forever. Fast forward to May 2023, they decided we're going to bring back Bounty Hunter again. I think it's hard to say in the long term how it's going to affect the PvP community, but from what I've seen, it's been a pretty positive experience and I have been having a lot of fun. It's exciting stuff to feel like, great, I can PvP again. Because like I said, PvP has always been a major motivator in why I played this game. Of course, in OSRS, it changed a little bit. I realized I suck at PKing versus other people. I'll never get as good as they are. So now I do a lot more PVMing than I used to. But having the ability to go play this high stakes player versus player game mode within Old School RuneScape is huge. I mentioned it earlier. No other MMORPG has the same experience. If you have never PK'd before, get some friends together, gear up in decent gear. You know, you don't want to risk, never bring anything that you actually care about losing, but bring enough gear that you don't want to lose it. The rush you get from just entering the wilderness with some friends, oh my God, it's like no other. When I started PKing, literally hands would be shaking. My heart would be pounding.
I mean, my heart's beating, my hands are shaking, but I'm still shooting, and I'm still getting the headshots. It's like, boom, headshot.
I had jad hands. My hands were like trembling having my fights. when I was learning PvP in 2017, I died so many times just because my hands were shaking so much I wasn't clicking food or I wasn't clicking things properly. It's a really cool experience. I mean, I said this probably multiple times in the podcast before, but the reason they called the podcast the Wilderness Podcast, because the wilderness was my favorite place in the game, and it still is. I might not go into it a whole lot like I used to, but the atmosphere, the dynamics, just the playstyle, everything about it is so unique when it comes to like a video game. When you're out in that wilderness and you see a white dot show up on your mini-map, knowing another player has just popped up, that can be a rush. A lot of people don't like that feeling because we don't want to lose the hard-earned money that, we have. It feels really, really bad to get PK'd and lose, whether it's your gear or maybe you're killing a boss in the wilderness and they kill you for it. It feels bad. But for me, that negative feeling I get when I get PK'd and I lose 3 mil because I had so much loot on me, it is what drives the adrenaline to kick in when you see somebody to show up. That is so exciting. Like, you need that negative feeling because it makes the positive feeling feel so good. Oh man, you have 3 people chasing you down trying to kill you and you just get away at the last second feels amazing. I got jumped by 2 PKers once and I had decided to fight back as I'm running away because I knew I wouldn't be able to fully run away. They had me teleblocked. I can't teleport. 2 people are jumping on me. So I jump on one of them and then I killed one. And then I did get to run away and I was able to get away. I don't know what other MMORPGs give you that experience. I know other games that give you similar experience. Escape from Tarkov. There's this weird overlap of people who like to play Escape from Tarkov and other people who like to play RuneScape. And I think it's because of that atmosphere of PKing being part of this game. I've been watching an Elden Ring video lately. I never played any of these Dark Souls games because I tried to play Bloodborne once and there's like this. So I think most of you will know like the whole thing of Dark Souls and Elden Ring and Bloodborne. They're really hard games and they're like just stupidly hard. They're ridiculously hard. And that's why people love them. And they're very unforgiving and punishing. And I got Bloodborne because people were like, oh, it's such a cool game. You're going to love it. There's a wolf at the beginning. It's like the first thing you counter is this wolf that's like killing something. It's part of the tutorial. And I'm pretty sure the wolf is meant to kill you, but I didn't realize it. And I kept reloading my save to try to kill it. It took me like an hour to finally kill it. And then I was like, this is ridiculous. This is the tutorial, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to kill you so that the next part of the tutorial is let's teach you how to die, teach you about dying because you're going to do it a lot. I've been watching this video and it makes me want to try Elden Ring because it said like one thing it was saying it's so hard and so punishing and dying is so frustrating that by the time you actually kill whatever it is that giving you this big negative feeling, it's like all this negative feeling gets bottled up inside you and it releases in this explosion of euphoria. I think that's why people love the Inferno so much. If you could beat the Inferno fight caves, the first time you kill Jad, the reason it's such a good feeling is not because the fire cape. It's because most people die like 12 times and it takes like an hour to get to Jad every single time. And then when you do get to Jad, you're so shaky because you're like, I don't want to die again and waste another hour of my time. I want it to be over now. And then you kill Jad and then you're like, fuck yeah, it feels so good. I'm playing Fallout 4. Side note, I love Fallout. It's probably my favorite franchise ever. I've never played the first one, but I played Fallout 2 in 1998 when I played it when I was just a little kid. I don't know why my parents let me play that game. That's when I learned so much about drugs, prostitution. Is that it? Slaves? There's just like slavers you encounter at the very beginning. Brutal. There's like a porn shoot that happens in Fallout 2. Anyways, I learned a lot about life from that game. Fallout is I love that game. And I just discovered Wasteland 3, which is it was made by the same people who made Fallout 1 and 2. So I just got Wasteland 3. I just got to play it, but fucking RuneScape keeps pulling me in. God damn, RuneScape. But Fallout 4, I've been playing a lot of Fallout 4 over the years, and there's like the survival mode, and you can only save it when you're sleeping in a bed. It's like this immersion. You got to eat food and drink water because you'll get thirsty, and it impacts your stats. So you're having to manage these, micromanage these, micromanage that survivability aspect. And then you got the sleep because you get too tired, but sleeping is how you save it. So what happens is like you'll be clearing out some area with a lot of monsters. Think of it like a dungeon. You're clearing out a dungeon with so many monsters, and sometimes you can find beds in these dungeons and you're like, fuck yeah. Sometimes you can't. And knowing that you just spent an hour and a half killing all these monsters and like having some really close calls and these really hard fights, it makes the whole experience so much more intense, because you're like, if I fucking die, I gotta do this shit all over again, and I don't want to do this shit all over again. It's so frustrating. And then you're like, it's already happened. Like 2 weeks ago, I fucking died, and I had to redo this whole dungeon, and it was bullshit. It just makes it so much more intense when you do find a bed. Anyways, I think that's like PKing, right? PKing has that almost all the time. Eventually, you get used to it. But I think that's why I love it so much. It's so exciting being able to like get that rush of like, maybe you're PVMing and a PvPer jumps on you and you want to get away. The last thing you want to do is die and lose all your loot. Maybe you're PvPing and you see another PVM and you're chasing them and you really want to get the kill because they have some fat loot on them. Or maybe you're a PvPer and you bump into another PvPer and you're like, this is it. This is the fight of the century. Oh, such a good feeling. Whenever I go do PVM content in the wilderness, I always bring some gears to fight back. Now we have some really good anti-PKing gear. Crossbow, beautiful. The crossbow, the upgraded version, bring that with an AGS or now the Void Waker. Those are really strong, and you can fight back pretty well. As also, just don't skull up. And I do that just so that when a PvPer shows up, I get this thrill, this excitement of like, I'm going to try to fight them back. And if one time I almost killed this person in full Ancestral, I would have got like 300 mil. And I almost got him because sometimes they're not expecting it. And I was shaking. And we met up in Edgeville afterwards. And we were talking for a bit. Guys, I talked on way too much about PvP. Let's hit that music so that we can talk about what the frick is Bounty Hunter. I mean, I kind of just told you, but let's look into the specifics. Bounty Hunter was released. I was very excited for this, and so were so many other people. So what is this iteration of Bounty Hunter? Well, so you go to Ferox Enclave, use a dueling ring to get there, and you will see a portal. It's like across the bank, across from the bank chest, and the portal will bring you to what is called Damon's Crater. And this is it's an island that's like not in the wilderness, really. Not if you look at the map, it's not where the wilderness is. It's a little bit more north. But it's this crater where in the middle is basically the lobby. You have your bank, you have a place you can get your loot keys, you have a fountain that will restore everything so you can get right back into the fight. And you'll have some NPCs for a bunch of different things. So you go into this lobby and then you go through the portal, and what happens is it teleports you to there's like 3 spawn points on the perimeter of this island, so really far from where the lobby is, and you spawn there, and then you get paired up with somebody. And the idea is like you and this person are supposed to fight each other now. But what's cool is like you don't have to fight each other, but you should. And I'm going to tell you why in a moment, because there is a list of grievances I have. Guys, I got fucked over so many times. I need to complain about it, but that can come after we talk about how much fun it is. Yeah, that's it. You get paired up with somebody, you get an arrow, and then you have to go find them on the map, and then you two fight each other, and the winner gets... It's just like the old days of Bounty Hunter. You get all the loot from your opponent, plus you potentially get an emblem, which you can then grow by getting more kills. I say potentially. I read the dev blog and it says you're supposed to get one, but I've gotten kills and I'm not getting my emblem, so I don't know what the hell is going on there. So I think it's just like you have a chance at getting the emblem, and then as you get kills, you have a chance at growing it. Guys, I don't really know. Not too sure. So first things first, the atmosphere, the aesthetic, the way the crater looks, Okay, it looks pretty fucking cool. It looks really cool. It's sectioned off into 3 different spots. I mentioned there's 3 spawn points and they're all on the perimeter of this crater, and each of the spawn points have like their own environment. So that's really cool. You have one area, the spawn point's called the Frozen Temple. It's just like snow and ice, and it's just like a very temperate environment. Is that the right word? No, I'm an idiot. It's definitely not a temperate. It's I'll use that word for the next one. It's very Arctic. It looks like just snowy and stuff. So it looks really cool. The second spawn point, called the Huntsman's Woods, this looks very temperate. It just looks like your, average like forest, kind of a little bit more spookier vibes, because, the wilderness is all very spooky. So you have that as well. And then you have your third spawn point called the Tower of Bounty. And this is just like a desolate wasteland with like lava and, craters and all these little cool volcanic looking things. So it looks really cool. Basically, look at the wilderness, and then you can find those exact environments in the wilderness. I think that's part of why I was talking about how cool the wilderness is. But I think partially the reason I like it is because of its atmosphere as well. And when you look at the lore of RuneScape, it used to be this like sprawling, civilization. I want to say like it was just like cities and at least multiple cities. People used to live in the wilderness. It didn't look like shit until the God Wars happened in the Third Age, and then everything got fucked up because of war, and now you have lava everywhere and all these ruins and all these really cool things. And what's neat is if you use the ancient teleports, there's a few of them that bring you into the wilderness. Where you have Dariak, Karalengar, Anakarl, I think that's it. Oh, and Gorok. Those are, I'm pretty sure each of those are different cities that used to exist. You could teleport to the cities itself, but now they're just ruins. So next time you're in the wilderness, look around. Look. You can, it kind of tells a story. You'll find like dragon bones and like ruined castles, and you'll find a ruined church, and it's really, really cool. So the aesthetic of Bounty Hunter looks awesome. And one thing I've noticed as well is, depending on what gear I was bringing into Bounty Hunter, I was getting paired up with people with similar loadouts. So at first I was bringing Darok out into the wilderness. That's like a 5 mil risk. Who's got that type of money? I don't. And I'm losing like any little reserves I had from Darok Peking. But I would bring Darok, and most of the time I was being paired up with somebody else in Daroks, or they're risking more. Eventually I had a realization that I can't afford this, and I started bringing like a magic shortbow with an AGS setup. So I was risking 300k instead of 5 mil, and I was being paired up with people with similar loadouts. So I think you get paired up depending on how much you're risking, which is awesome. That's perfect, right? If you don't want to risk a lot and you want to cheap out, you'll get paired up with other people who are cheaping out. And ideally, these people are cheaping out because they suck at PvP. So which means you both suck together, and then whoever sucks less might win. Really cool stuff. And of course, you can't just have people fighting each other without like some sort of specific exclusive draw to it. Right? Because otherwise it's just like, okay, well, you know what? GEPK, I don't really know what the difference is. Why can't 2 people just decide to fight? Well, it's this whole emblem system. You get these bounty hunter points, this new like currency that you can spend on rewards that are specific to bounty hunter. And this is what people want. This is what all the rage is. Let's talk about the fun, cool looking stuff. You get a bunch of cosmetics that you could unlock. A bunch of really cool cosmetics. Elder Chaos robes. These are like these magic robes that Pures use. They're worth like a couple mil. They're red, Zamrock, like they're like Zamrock looking. You can turn them red, or you can turn them black. It's really cool, like everyone, a lot of us are in our like 20s and 30s, but we grew up back in the day where like Fallout Boy and I don't know, Bring Me the Horizon were like kicking off, and they were all the rage, and Protest the Hero, and the emo look was really cool, right? Lots of black eyeliner and straightened hair, and Those like piercing, the snake bite piercings. So Bounty Hunter cosmetics, they're all about that emo look, right? It's emo goth look. It's pretty cool. So I don't know if there's a correlation there because they know that we're like, yeah, this brings me back to when I was a teenager and I was PKing. This corrupted dragon armor, so you can really deck yourself out in emo looking dragon armor. Pretty badass. Boots, medium helmet, square shield, plate legs, and chain body, or the plate skirt. Then chain body. So you can make yourself look real cool. Corrupted dragon weaponry. You can purchase ornament kits to make your dragon weapons look pretty, emo scene. Which is awesome. Battle axe, warhammer, longs, like they all look so sick. If there is a dragon weapon out there, you can probably recolor it with this emo kit. It is so freaking cool. And then there's these outliers. Fighter torso. It makes you like, people are calling it like a bondage looking setup because you get like a weird choker. The helm of Natus Knot, it makes you look like a Zerker helmet, which is just very cool. The heavy ballista looks pretty badass, and the Elder Maul changes to look like a Bandos item. A lot of these were actually featured in the PvP arena. Because it didn't pass in the PvP arena, Jagex was like, okay, well, listen, we kind of don't want to come up with anything new, so we're just gonna see if we can bring them into Bounty Hunter. And they did, which isn't a bad thing, I guess, because I think Bounty Hunter is way more beneficial than the PvP arena. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Those are all recolors, but we got more than just recolors, which is like kind of cool. There's a few weapons that you can now upgrade so that they become Bounty Hunter specific weapons, right? They don't work this way outside of Bounty Hunter, but in Bounty Hunter, they get some special perks, which is kind of interesting. The first one is a dark bow. So you can upgrade this so it becomes stronger than the original one. Like its stats just get better. And on top of that, the original dark bow has a special attack. It takes 55% spec energy and you shoot 2 arrows at once. You always shoot 2 arrows at once, but you do way more damage. And they can't hit 0. It can only hit like a minimum of like 5 to 7, depending on your arrow. And there's like a little delay. So like one hit and then immediately after the second one hits. The new Bounty Hunter Dark Bow gets an upgraded special attack. So it takes 45% spec energy, which means if you want to shoot 2 specs in a row, you can now do that. You don't got to wait to recharge 5%, or I guess 10%. On top of that, it has a stronger hit. So like before it hit a minimum of 5 to 7, now it hits a minimum of 8 to 10. And both arrows will hit at the exact same time. So it's a little bit more lethal. Next is the Barrel Chest Anchor. It's a quest item that you can receive, and it's often used as like a KO weapon. So you're attacking with like a magic short bow or something, and then when you want to try to hit them really hard to kill them, you quickly switch to your Barrel Chest Anchor and boom, you do a smack and hopefully kill them. The upgraded version is stronger than the original, and its special attack has a 15% increase to its damage. So basically the special attack is just even stronger than it used to be, giving you that chance to actually KO somebody. The Dragon Mace, they made this an actual PKing weapon. It has more accuracy when you upgrade it, and its special attack will basically hit through 40% of your crush defense. So it'll ignore, if you're like sprawled out in the most tankiest of gear, it's gonna bypass 40% of that. I don't know how good it is, but I mean, that's pretty cool. The Dragon Longsword, the classic, just like the rest, the upgraded version is even stronger than before. And its special attack is 25% more accurate, and it attacks 1 tick faster. So you can do a nice little chop with it. And then third is the Abyssal Dagger. And I have had a personal run-in with the Abyssal Dagger, and I can say it is strong. This thing was freaking poking me for a lot of damage. It has plus 10 to stat bonus, so it's more accurate than its original one. And its special attack, it basically does similar to what the DDS does, but the original one has like a 15% damage reduction. This one is only 5% damage reduction. So this is a weapon that if you're like not a great PKer, maybe you get the Abyssal Dagger. You do some pokes, and then when you're ready, you switch to the spec and you can kill them. It's very easy to use. You don't need to worry about switching any weapons at all. That is really, really cool. Guys, we have one more set of gear we have to talk about, and that is the ancient armors, ancient warrior armors and weapons. Way back when Rev Caves was coming out, there was pitch rewards to be these ancient armors. Was it Morgans, Vestas, Zuriels, Statius. These like ancient warriors with their armor and weapons were going to come from Rev Caves. Me and Deegan talked about this in length. We were not happy with these armors. They were very, very tuned up, and we did not want PKers being even stronger than they are. Well, they decided to bring them out again, and this time they did pass. These are just very strong, yet very expensive gear. One, it costs a lot of bounty hunter points to get them. 600. That's a lot. I have 0. I've killed 5 people, maybe. I don't remember. Plus, you have to charge each piece with 5 mil. And when you die, you'll lose 5 mil from each piece. Right? There's 3 pieces. Helmet, chest, and legs. On top of that, each set, so we have Morgans, which is your ranged version. You have Vestas, which is a melee set, but it kind of leans into accuracy over strength bonus. Statius leans a little bit more into defense, but also gives you a bit of, gives you more strength bonus. You can actually hit higher. And then there's Zuriels, which is also, which focuses on magic. What all of these do, they all come with weapons as well that you can purchase. And if you have the full set, they will make your weapons 15% more accurate when you use the special attack with them. Pretty good. They are pretty wild. And what's kind of cool about them is you can corrupt each version of these, and they turn into a weaker version let's say Zuriels. There's a weaker version of Zuriels, but it only requires 20 defense. So it kind of opens the door to a new breed of pures, or at least the return of a new breed of pures if anyone is savvy in the pure ecosystem. Space? Initiate pures. It's these initiate pures that kind of stopped existing because it just wasn't optimal. They're like these pures that get initiate armor. They're a little bit tankier than 1 defense pures, and they get some, bonus to prayer. Now you could actually use some of these weapons, this gear, and it's like just weaker versions of it. But it's kind of cool. Not a bad system. So yeah, they seem very strong, but very expensive to use, which I'll talk about in my gripes section. But I will say one thing about them. They all look kind of dumb. They don't look really good. Zuriels looks kind of cool, I guess, and Vestas looks all right, but Statius and Morgans both look kind of dumb. So I'm just going to put that out there. Could have looked a little bit cooler, okay? Could have looked a little bit cooler. What happened to that Roman gladiator gear that they pitched in the PvP arena? That shit was awesome. With it comes with some weapons. We have Vesta's longsword. This thing costs 50 mil to charge up. So it's very, very expensive. If you die, you lose all that 50 mil. You have to repay. That being said, it is very strong, and its special attack is also ridiculously good. It costs 25% energy, so you can do it 4 times in a row, and it deals between 20 to 120% of the user's max hit, and the accuracy is rolled against 25% of the opponent's defense. Basically, it's going to hit you really hard and pretty consistent. So if somebody starts specking with it, start chugging brews. Get those chug jugs out and start chugging them. Very strong. Next is Vesta's spear. This is kind of cool, and the special looks really awesome too. The special attack is called Spear Wall, and it costs 50% of your energy, and it damages up to 16 targets within 8 tiles around the player. You also become immune to melee attacks for 8 seconds. This definitely is something that, like, if you're getting piled by a group, you want to bring it out and use the special attack, because it's going to hurt everyone who's jumping on you, and it's going to protect you from getting piled on. Which doesn't make sense, because right now you can only use it in Bounty Hunter, and Bounty Hunter is a 1v1 space. Something that some players are concerned about. They think that this one day will show up in the wilderness along with all the other stuff. which I don't blame them. I think it will as well. That being said, they did say on one of the live streams, or maybe it was a dev blog, they said somewhere, Jagex said somewhere that the Bounty Hunter crate, because it's sectioned off from the rest of the game, they will be able to test out things in Bounty Hunter before seeing if it's worth bringing into the normal game. I think that's why Vesta's Spear is like this right now. So I'm not 100% sure if we'll ever see it, but I think it's kind of, I wouldn't be surprised. Not be surprised. Statius's Warhammer. One-handed Warhammer, kind of looks like a steel version of a bigger Dragon Warhammer. This will take 35% of your special energy. So you can do it 2.5 times. Similar to Vesta's Longsword, it's going to do 25 to 25% of your user's max hit. So, and it's also going to lower the target's defense. So I think the idea of this is you want to smack them, lower their defense by 30%, and then you want to bring out another weapon to finish them off. Now that they're a little bit more defenseless, you could do some bigger and more accurate hits on them. And then you have Zuriel's Staff, the magic weapon. It doesn't have a special attack, but instead it has a passive effect where all of your ancient magics are going to be a little bit better. Ice spells are 10% more accurate. Blood spells restore 50% more health. Smoke spells, poison damage is 2 times as strong. And shadow spells, the attack drain from the spell is 2 times as good. Next is the ranged weapons. We have Morgan's Javelin, 50% special attack energy, and it kind of gives you this damage over time effect where every 1.8 seconds, the opponent will take an additional 5 hits of damage until the exact amount of damage as you hit them originally is accomplished. You kind of hit them. Basically, when you use your special attack and you hit them for like a 35, it's going to do 70 damage, just 35 up front, and then 5 damage every 1.8 seconds until 35 more damage has been accomplished. So it's kind of cool. It gives you a chance to really, it's going to wear them down, and you can time it so you can try to spec and combo out right when that 5 damage is coming through again. And lastly, there is the Morgan's Throwing Axe. Similar to the Vesta's Longsword and the Hammer, costs 50% energy to use, and it's going to do a max hit of 20 to 120% of the users. It's going to deal between 20 and 120% of the user's max hit. It also has this other effect that the player that gets hit, their run energy will be drained 6 times as fast. So if they start running away, they're basically going to run out of energy really quick. So that's kind of cool. That's basically it. Guys, I know that was a lot to go through. It probably sounded like a bit of a laundry list, so I'm sorry about that. But that's all of the gear. How do I feel about it? So here's my grievances, I think. There's a couple. First things first, PvP has this weird problem. There's basically these 2 separate channels at how that determine how good you are or effective you are at PKing. You have 1, how skilled you are, how your knowledge of PKing, how good you actually are at fighting, right? Obviously. But 2, how much money you're willing to risk. I think it's pretty obvious, but the better gear you bring out there, the more expensive it is, but the better chance you are at killing them. But I don't know if you see where this problem comes from. It's like this snowball effect. If you're bad at PKing, you're going to want to risk less gear. So both of those channels are really low. You suck at PKing, so you're really low in that channel, which means why would you want to risk a lot of money? Because you're probably just going to lose it against somebody who is really good. So you're risking a small amount of GP, which means you could face somebody who is really good at PKing, so their channel is really high. And which means if their channel is really high, then they're okay with risking better gear. So it's like there's like this problem where they are not only just better at PKing, but they're just going to outclass you because they have better equipment. They've dumped more money into it. That's one of my grievances. That's what's so hard about getting into PKing. You want to risk as little as possible, but then you're at a disadvantage because the gear you're up against is just better. and they're more skilled than you are. Right? It's this weird problem. And when you have gear that is so expensive, like Vestas, Morgans, blah, 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 all of this new Ancient Warrior gear that costs a lot of money to use, that does nothing for the person who's really good at PKing. Because if they have a lot of money, they don't care how much they're risking because it's going to help them get more kills. Most people probably aren't risking that much, but there are some that they're just unstoppable. They're really, really hard. It causes this problem. Sometimes I wonder if it would be better to have a really good weapon that's really, really good at PKing and is very, very accessible, because it would even the playing field a little bit more. You're not risking a lot of money because it's so easy to get. And at the very least, you're going to be on a little bit closer an advantage to your opponent. But as we have like this gear gap, I call it a gear gap and a skill gap. The bigger this gear gap becomes, the harder it is to kill people. My first fight in Bounty Hunter was against friggin' Otoblock. If you don't know, Otoblock is a streamer, has a ton of money in game, but they're really, really, really good at PKing, like phenomenally good. My first target fight I got was against him. And I went to go fight him in my full Darox, and he had full Torva with he was risking like maybe over a bill, 1 bill. I was risking 5 mil. He was risking so much more. And you can go, well, Dills, he is risking like 200 times more than you. And it's like, yeah, but he's like way better. There was no chance I was going to kill him. And you could always say, well, there's always a chance. And I died so quick. I don't even think I was able to attack him.
Double Karasiza! You fucking Ziggy!
Gosh, why is it every time I get featured on a YouTube video, it's me getting my ass kicked in a very embarrassing way?
Again. Dude, John?
What the heck?
Anyways, it's rough stuff. Why do they have to laugh? So when you have all this expensive gear, it makes this gear gap huge, which is like one of the perks when it comes to like PKing on a pure, because the gear that's available is just less. So you're risking less on a pure. That's why a lot of people like it too, when it's more optimal for PKing, and it's just, you're not spending as much money. That being said, you know how friggin' long it takes to make a good pure? It took me a long time. Lots of questing is involved, lots of training, lots of skilling. My next grievance is the system with the target system. So I mentioned earlier, you get paired up with another person to kill them. You don't have to kill them though. You do not have to kill them. What you can do instead is you can just fight somebody else who's at your level, right? Maybe the person keeps running away and they're just being a dick. So you're like, you know what? I'm going to face this other person and we're just going to fight. We're not each other's target, but it's fine. We'll fight each other. It is weird because the target can come up to you at any time and they can just attack you. Even if you're in the middle of a fight, like that's not supposed to happen because it's not multi-combat, but they can do it. Which means what some people have been doing is they either have some friends or they wait till their target is fighting somebody else. But let's say I'm out in the BH crater and somebody comes up and starts attacking me. Well, fuck, I'm going to fight back. Why not? I'm going to fight them. They're not my target, but I'm going to fight them. But what I don't know is the person who's fighting me is friends with my target. And what's going to happen is the person I'm fighting is going to dump all their special attacks onto me, trying to kill me, maybe bring me down very low in HP. And then their friend's going to run up and double spec me as well and probably kill me. I will say will kill me 100% of the time because that's exactly what happened to me. Every time this happened, I died. Brutal stuff. That being said, I'm sure it's going to get fixed. I'm sure it will get fixed. My third grievance is, okay, I don't know how I feel about this one. It's the Void Waker. If you're on Reddit or Twitter, you've seen people complaining about the Void Waker. It's the hot thing to bitch about this week. The Void Waker came out when the Wilderness bosses got reworked. The 3 of them, we had the spider, the bear, and the skeleton looking thing. Videon, Callisto, and Venenatus. Each one of them dropped a piece to the sword, and when you got the sword, it created the Void Waker. Everyone's calling it a Karazi because it's basically the Karazi from back in the day, from what I've heard. It's a little bit different. I never played with the Karazi, but I've watched some sweet YouTube videos with Linkin Park playing in the background, with some awesome Windows Movie Maker cuts with Hypercam in the corner, unregistered, of course. Whatever happened to Fraps? Fraps was the cool one I used for Counter-Strike. Nobody used that for RuneScape. It was always Hyperlink, Hypercam. I'm losing it. So Void Waker is this weapon. It's like 200 mil. When you attack with it, it's like as strong as a whip, so it's pretty good. But the special attack is a magic attack. It costs 50% energy, so you can do it twice in a row, and it guarantees a hit, and it's very accurate. What I'm trying to say is the thing is fucking strong. It's friggin' way too strong. It's fucking, which is like a good and bad thing, because one, anytime I face it, the person's probably gonna kill me. When I faced Odablock, I'm pretty sure he just attacked me with his normal weapon, hit me for like a 30, brought out the Void Waker, and bam! Bam! Those bams were specs. 2 specs in a row. Each of them were hitting 60 damage. I'm dead. What can I do to prevent that? I don't really know. One thing I forgot to mention is there's no Protect from Prayer, so you can't throw on Protect from Mage. There's no teleport, so you can't just teleport. There's no Ice Barrage, so you can't freeze them and run away, which is actually kind of a good thing. Actually, all of those were a good thing to not allow in Bounty Hunter. So the Void Waker is this weird thing where it's like, it's really strong. It's very expensive to risk, so I'm too afraid to bring it out. But it is very, very strong. So it's like this weird, it is a grievance a little bit, but at the same time, this is where I'm mixed. Because when I am PVMing in the wilderness and I have my Void Waker with me, anyone who attacks me is in for a rude awakening. It's a very strong weapon that I can toss on to try to anti-PK, and it's very deadly. So people don't, there's like a mixed, there's like this weird, it's very strong, and people, it feels bad. If somebody is double speccing you with it, it feels bad because good chances you're gonna die. That's what a lot of people do, is they just throw on the Void Waker and they go bam, bam, and kill you. And there is no counter play. There's like no, it feels like the Void Waker is just better. There's nothing else that like compares to it. Maybe the Vestus Longsword, but that's just like hard to get. It's hard when like there's one weapon that's just objectively better than all the rest. Because if you can afford it, then you're just objectively better than others. Whereas like, you know, at least with the AGS or the Ancient Godsword does like this attack where if it hits them and then after like 5 seconds, it's going to blow them up and do a lot of damage. You could kind of have a preference, right? You could bring out the AGS and maybe a G-Maul. And the plan is I'm going to kill them with one spec. It's going to be an AGS and G-Maul at the same time. It's going to waste all my energy, but I'm going all in on that attack. Or maybe you just bring the AGS and you delay it. Maybe you bring the Ancient's Godsword and you try to stack them out by hitting high and then waiting for that 5 seconds and then boom, comboing with another G-Maul or something else. The problem with the Void Waker, it's like, no. If you have the Void Waker, it's better than all of those combinations. Just bring the Void Waker. Are you crazy? Why not? So people feel weird about it. I'm not sure. Overall, it is pretty cool. So I have been having a lot of fun with it, and I highly recommend trying to get into it. And if you don't know where to start, you can chat with me anytime. There might be guides online. I'm also on our Discord, the Wilderness discord.gg/the Wilderness. We have a PvP channel that you can talk to other PvPers in. I've posted some of the setups I've been using that have been shared with me from some people that I know. And you know, you can risk anything from like, I'm level 126 and I'm risking 300k. That's not too bad. That's pretty cheap considering how strong I also am with it. So highly recommend doing it as well. Now, I'm not just a PvP. I like when it comes to the pillars that I mentioned earlier, I do all three. I love to skill, love skilling in this game, love PVMing in this game, love PvP in this game. I love them all. There's some people who just love PvP and they've been doing it from the beginning. So I want to talk to a couple of them to get their takes on it. So let's see what they think about Bounty Hunter. There's mixed feelings. Some PvPers love it, some don't like it. Let's hear from them. So I'm here with Call Me Son. So you really like Bounty Hunter, but before we get into your thoughts on it, I don't know, what's your background when it comes to the PvP scene?
So I've been in the PvP scene for probably 8 years, I'd say. I got into it just because it's always been interesting, just playing RuneScape ever since like 2005. I never really got into PvP in the early days, but up until probably around 8 years ago, I don't even know exactly when that was. But when Bounty Hunter was kind of in its prime in old school RuneScape is when I got into it. I think it was in for about 2 or 3 years when I, like the first version of Bounty Hunter, when I was really into it. And then they removed it, and that just kind of sucked. And they added Bounty Hunter 2.0 or whatever they want to call it. They wanted to make it so more people could play it, I guess, or make more money. But the system in place was fine because all you did to get money was get your tier 7 emblem, and then anyone who wanted a rune pouch would go to a clan chat, and you would just find whoever's available to buy a rune pouch from. And the person playing Bounty Hunter who's online and responds first, they get their tier 7 in their inventory, go into the lever in Edgeville where the Bounty Hunter is, and then they just allow them to kill them, and then they pay 1.5 mil. So you would always get a tier 1 emblem if you had an emblem on you, and that was just a free 100k every time you got a kill. So that was awesome. And then when you get 7 kills in a row or 6 kills in a row, it goes up to level 7, and then that's 1.5 mil.
And then there was a problem with like botting or gold farming, or something was happening where they felt that they had to fully remove Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing because like they didn't even try to ban the bots. They just deleted Bounty Hunter. Like I feel like if people were doing Chambers of Xerix and botting and just abusing that, they would figure out a way to, you know, get rid of the bots and monetize it or whatever they need to do to make sure the bots aren't getting all that GP so people could continue playing Chambers of Xerix.
Yeah. So, and then yes, they basically just full on removed it. And then it was years before, you know, we got Bounty Hunter today. So, and do you remember how the removal of Bounty Hunter for such a long period of time affected the PvP community?
Yeah, it's so many people quit. Like the whole, like multiple Discord servers I was in, like everyone stopped playing. And that's just like, I mean, it's only like 100 or 2 account or like people that, you know, were in those servers. But when people are so dedicated and have so many accounts, and then Jagex just deletes the entire minigame, and so since it's such a small community, no one really cares. It just feels bad.
And then when Bounty Hunter got removed, it all got moved. That style of PKing got moved to Grand Exchange Worlds.
Yeah,
but
that's always kind of been there. There's always people who PK at Grand Exchange. But the problems with that, in my opinion, are if you have accounts that don't have a maxed pool for regeneration, you can't really do that.
Well, fast forward to May, and Bounty Hunter gets released this year of May 2023. And yeah, so Bounty Hunter gets released. What are your thoughts on Bounty Hunter? Is it good? Did they do a good job?
It works. So I play it a lot right now, and it's fun. It could use a lot of improvements, but it's definitely just better than nothing. And I see a lot of the old names that I used to see in Edgeville, and so that's nice. there's a few people who are like rank top 10, and so I see their names running around, and so it's fun to see them and say hi and and just ask them their opinion on, hey, do you like it? They're like, Debo OP.
Yeah, I guess like what do you think of the rewards? I know some people are split on it because I know some feel that, you know, you mentioned the Debo, the dark bow, but some people don't even want to do bounty hunter because they don't want to face those builds because they just feel it's just unfair.
The problem with the dark bow is it can basically one hit you even if you're at full HP. Wow. And so it just sucks. And it hits on the same tick, so there's no possible way of eating out if you do eat in time. Mm-hmm. And I have a low level pure where my hit points are 82, and I can easily get one hit on that. So anytime I go against a dark bow player, I always have to just save and hope they don't max me. But you know, it happens, and so it just sucks because that's like the only weapon that can really do that.
So Bounty Hunter's been really busy when I'm there. I mean, it's packed, so a lot of people are doing it. Do you think it's going to do a good job at bringing new players into the PvP scene?
I think so. I've definitely seen a lot of new players, especially at the level 76 combat bracket where I PK on mostly, because it's a low level, easy to get into level bracket, and there's a lot of players who you just look them up and you see they've got 2 kills in Bounty Hunter or 20 kills in Bounty Hunter, and then just fighting them you can tell if they are experienced or not. So I definitely see a lot of new players. They added that EP system, or is that what it's called?
Oh, it's like the ELO or whatever?
Yeah, so
like a ranking system or something, is that it?
No, the earning potential system. They just added that like a few days ago.
Oh, okay. So what is that?
So they're trying to make it so that you have an earning potential, and so you get a certain amount of GP when you kill your target in like the form of a loot crate. It's weird because you earn EP when you die or when you're in the wilderness. And so what I noticed, if I'm getting like 5 kills and then die, those whole 5 kills, I may only get 1 tier 1 crate, which is like less than 100k. So it doesn't really help anyone who's doing good. But if you suck at the game, on the other hand, and you're getting a bunch of deaths, the one time you do kill someone, you may get like 500k from it.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So that's nice for new players, but I'd also like to see a way for people who are actually getting kills to also earn from it, but we'll see.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, that's kind of cool for like someone, like for myself, I don't often get kills, but I do like the idea of that when I do get a kill, it's exciting. It feels good. So it's going to encourage me to keep going at it, even if it's like an inflated number. Now, what do you think this is going to do for the long term of the PvP scene? Do you think there's any negatives, or is it all positives?
I think there's some negatives because there's people who already are quitting and don't want to play because you can't teleport out. And just some other minor things like that. It just really sucks when you're out of food and you're running to the wall to get out and you just die.
What would you say to anyone who's like listening and they're like, "Oh, that PKing sounds fun, but it's like when I want to get the PvP, it's so daunting because it can be kind of expensive and you're risking your own gold that you've worked for, and it sucks to die and lose stuff." So what would you say to someone who is like wanting to get into the PvP scene?
So for someone wanting to learn PKing and get into Bounty Hunter, the best thing to do is if you have a friend who has the same level account as you, you can practice on each other at Clan Wars and just learn how to spec as fast as possible and eat when you see their spec coming. Because those are the 2 biggest things for being a good PKer, is you want to make sure you can spec them before they can eat, and you want to be able to eat right as they're specking you. That way you don't die, and that way you get kills. So that would be the best thing if you can practice doing that. And if not, then, you know, if you're on a main, go in there with like an AGS, and then maybe just get a magic short bow and wear rune gloves, climbing boots, Black D'hide and Helm of Needs Not, and you'll get some kills just fighting them in rag gear, and you'll lose like, I don't know, like 100, 200k, or yeah, probably around there every time you die. But people in max, they're usually risking about 600k to 1.5 mil. So even if you die a few times and then get a kill, you'll still kind of break even. So that's a good way to do it if you're on a main.
It's exciting stuff. Any last words before we wrap up?
I've got a few things on a list of. I asked some other Bounty Hunter players if they like Bounty Hunter, and if not, and so they wrote some stuff down. So I'll just name off a few. The middle area is too cluttered and it's hard to navigate, which that's annoying. The teleporting out thing, that's a big one. Maybe just add a timer after people spec so you can teleport. Spec tapping isn't a thing because people can just camp the exits. Instead of imbue scrolls, make the items rechargeable. Because that is kind of annoying when you die and then you have to go to your gravestone and then get the thing. The points are bad. It's really hard to get points. And the points, they don't really feel good for anything you can get. And it's tough. Like, I don't even have 400 points yet to get anything. Make the crater smaller. It's kind of big and no one's on the outer edges, so you don't need it so big. Someone said, which I don't really agree with, but make the bounty hunter rewards used in regular wildy, which that would be a whole problem for a lot of people, but that'd be interesting. And no P-neck. The P-necks are kind of annoying for low-level accounts because it just gives you the health back when you get under like 10% or something. But yeah, that was basically it. Those are just some little issues that people brought up.
It's interesting. That's cool. It's nice to hear. Like, I don't think the PvP community is always kind of like you said, like a lot of things get downvoted because it's PvP related. So you miss out on a lot of like valid opinions from people.
Yeah. And it's such a small community. Like, there's not many people going on Reddit like advocating bounty hunter. It's just people who do it and then it goes away and they're like, well, I can't play bounty hunter anymore. And they just quit.
All right. As I mentioned, it's not all sunshines and daisies. While Call Me Son really enjoys Bounty Hunter for a lot of reasons, our next speaker has the opposite feeling. So let's hear from them. PH Zerker wanted to bring you on to talk about Bounty Hunter because I know you have an interesting, I don't know if it's an interesting opinion, but you had an opinion that I wanted to hear from. So I guess quick background of who you are.
Thank you for having me on tonight. I really appreciate that. I'm PH Zerker in game. I stream quite a bit on Twitch. It's Rushing Dream, but my background for PKing and RuneScape dates back to like 2004. So I've been PKing quite some time. Never really liked the bounty hunter system that RuneScape has implemented, and I was hoping...
Like, you never liked it back then?
No, and I just never liked it. I don't know why, but I've just never liked bounty hunter. I've always kind of liked open PKing. And I was kind of hoping that maybe this time around we wouldn't just copy and paste something. Unfortunately, I was horribly wrong. And this time around, it's as a, 99 combat max, I'm fighting 75 defense rigger, and the Debo is just horrendous right now, especially at my combat bracket. Unfortunately, it just makes PKing and BH unbearable and not fun. Typically, if I was to PK, which I do pretty much about every day, when I PK at the G and stuff, I typically avoid range. Just because range hits significantly harder on 45 defense than it does somebody with 70 defense or so. And it's forcing me at BH to fight that.
So, okay, so you're not super into Bounty Hunter because Bounty Hunter pretty much pairs you up with somebody random and you're constantly getting paired up with builds that are just awful to face against as your build.
Yeah, so pretty much with the few and far in between targets that I do get that are actually fun to fight, people my combat style, just the melee style or whatever, that's not, range. When it's not range, it's not bad, but it's so few and far in between that I get somebody that's not range that it's just not worth doing. I lose more money than I do gaining, which to me isn't that big of a deal, but it's not fun. I don't have these fun fights where, I could fight a guy at the GE 10 times and, we may not kill each other any of those 10 times, but those are still good enough fights that it's enjoyable to me. It's like going to a boss fight at the GE when you fight a good fight somebody 10 times, and then maybe on the 11th time one of you guys kills each other and you get 500k. It's nothing to brag about, but it feels good. Whereas if you're fighting in BH, if I go up against somebody with rigor, I could triple eat and the Debo just combos me out with the Debo plus dragon throwing axe. You're instantly dead. There's nothing you can do even if you triple eat.
So so I really like Bounty Hunter, but I can understand that because I have gotten paired up with people where I'm like, this is fucking stupid. I'm not going to fight this person. And I'm either going to run away, or usually what happens is I die really quickly. But I know other people feel like this. They think they have the same opinion as you do, and they much prefer GE PKing. Is the GE PvP scene, is it still going strong, or is it worse than it was now that Bounty Hunter is here?
Unfortunately, it's worse than it was. I mean, Bounty Hunter really had, me and myself included, had really high hopes for Bounty Hunter because it was supposed to revive PKing, which it honestly has. There's more people PKing at Bounty Hunter than there was ever at GE. At any given time of the day, when I would hop on before work, I'd PK for, 10 minutes while I'm sitting outside of work, or 30 minutes at night while I'm chilling out on the couch. There has been more people in BH ever than any time of day in a PvP world at GE, which is, to me, is insane. I'm so happy that the PKing community is flourishing. I'm sad that it has taken the turn it has, and that the GE has just kind of died off. There's, maybe 60 people at GE at any given time throughout the day, and that could be any combat bracket. So, I mean, right now it's me sitting here maybe waiting for 1-2 fights a night.
The perfect situation for everyone would be Bounty Hunter brings in more PvPers overall, and then you have some PvPers who are like, this is fun, I'm into PKing now, but I want something different, and they shift over to the Grand Exchange. That's for me, that's oh, that's the perfect world. Do you think that will ever happen?
I would normally say it's wishful thinking. I've seen it, I've seen a good handful of people, because like I said, I PK on mobile quite a bit. Being on in the morning and stuff, I see a lot of people that are like, I'm new to PKing, tried BH sucks, so I really wanted to try this. But you find a lot of people saying I wanted to try this, but there's nobody here. I'm fighting the same 4 people, and it sucks. Because, out of those 4 people, you may get one stud who's just constantly killing you. There's nothing you can do.
But that situation where there's only 4 people to pick from is still better than having this giant pool of people where you're getting randomly paired up with, right? Because you're still able to choose out of those 4 people who you're going to fight.
I would say to an extent, yes. For me personally, yes. Just because out of those 4 people that I get to pick from, all 4 of them are typically people using melee versus range. And it's not that I don't mind fighting an MSB to an AGS person. It's the person that's using dragon throwing knives to a Debo to a dragon throwing axe, that 9 times out of 10, even if you triple eat, you die, and it's no fun. I mean, that's basically like me rushing the fight with a Karasi and hoping that he hits my Venge high, and I just double cross the amount, and that's it. I think if Jagex, and I do believe this, if Jagex implemented an unlimited skip system, so you don't get 30-minute penalized, because there's times like I'll go to BH and I'll use both my skips to maybe get somebody with melee. But if they implemented like an unlimited skip system, so you could, pay 5 mil for the day and have unlimited skips or whatever, or just something along those lines, where I could just skip all the targets that have Rigor and Void that I don't personally want to fight, then I would spend more time in BH. I mean, I have 400 BH points that I'm not using. So I mean, like, I have spent the time there. I just don't want to spend any more time there.
If people wanted to come watch your stream, where can they go?
They could come follow me at twitch.tv/Rushing Dream.
Okay, overall, I'm glad Bounty Hunter is here. It has brought some life into PvP, I think, and I think it's going to be very accessible for people wanting to get into it. That being said, I have talked long enough. I'm going to take a quick break, and let's head over to the Grand Exchange. All right, we're taking a quick little break and heading on over to the Grand Exchange. Guys, we're going to make this short and sweet. So first things first, thank you to everyone who has signed up to the Patreon since we last spoke. So welcome on board to Flourish, Sir Morg, and Chris T. Thank you so much for being a new Patreon subscriber. Of course, every episode we have to give a shout out to our top tier supporters: Bronzeon, Yulfi Ferric, Das Sasquatch, Strosity, Flarch King, Flourish, Chris T, Roland Wisdom, Mallard, Sir Morg, Spleemo, and the Kazi. Thank you guys so much for signing up to our top tier super supporter. But also, let's not forget everyone else who does support the show as well. Really means a lot, and I truly, truly appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who has supported in the past as well, and anyone who comes along in the future. Huge shout out there. But of course, Patreon is not the only thing. Another way you can support the show is by going into buymeacoffee.com/dills. You make a one-time donation instead. So thank you to Turkish S and Baxter B. Thank you guys so much for buying me that virtual coffee. Oh, by the way, patreon.com/The Wilderness Podcast if you want to join Patreon as well. And we have a third way you can support the show. If you are an avid Discord user like myself, you might want to send a boost to the Discord server. We get a few little perks to our server, including a unique URL, which is discord.gg/thewilderness. So thank you to everyone who has given that server that perk. Thank you to A Wild Gengar, Flourish, Hey Step Sis, No Step Bro, J-Dog, Capri Sun Man, I was going to say Caprison Man, PH Zerker, and Roland Wisdom. Gosh, a few of you are really tackling things on all fronts. That really, really means a lot. It means a lot. Whew. Let's get back into the episode. Okay. We are back, and like I said, I was taking a break from the podcast and everything for a few weeks, so falling off a little bit when it comes to the listener segment. What do you have to say? Do you have emails or do you have phone calls? Send them in, and we can talk about it. But not for this episode. We'll save it for the next one because we have some catch up to do. We have so much to talk about. RuneScape 3 just showcased their next new skill. Guys, we're getting a new skill too, and we have been hearing so much about it from the J-Mods. So RuneScape 3 is getting Necromancy. What is that skill? All I can tell you is it looks awesome. It actually looks really, really cool. They released a video and we're going to talk about it as well. But on top of that, I want to talk about more of what sailing is going to be because it's sounding pretty cool. And I'm super into it. And the J-Mods super excited about it. And the player base is never happy. So people love it. Some people hate it. Some people don't care. But guess what, guys? You're listening it from the person who is going to love it. I will force myself to love it. I'll be one of those people that even if I hate it, I'm going to pretend like I love it because I've already sunk in so much time talking how much I'm going to love it. And then I'm going to become a bitter old man where I'm sitting out, looking out the window, thinking about what sailing could have been. It's for another podcast, though. Yeah, I got I got some big stuff to talk about. So we will get there. Guys, send your messages in. There will be a SpeakPipe link in the description below. You can, whatever it is, let's freeball it. I don't know. No question of the week. Just call in if you want to talk or say something. We also have, there's also the wildernesspodcast@gmail.com email that you can email anything you would like, your questions, your concerns, your feedback, your stories, anything you would like to share as well. And of course, our Discord is discord.gg/thewilderness. Type that in the URL and it will bring you there. And you can also comment there as well. And if it's something you want brought up on the podcast, it will be brought up on the podcast. That is pretty much it. We have there's a Twitter as well. I don't really use Twitter a whole lot. Twitter.com. No, it's @thewildernessRS on Twitter, but I'm not on it a whole lot. What's there? I think that is it. The song of the week is going to be probably a song that I play way too much on here, but it is forever one of my favorite songs, and it will always remind me of The Wilderness because it used to play in the wilderness. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite songs of all time. It's one of the most nostalgic as well. And that song is called Dark. It is unlocked in the wilderness, and it's unlocked at the Wilderness Agility Course and the Wilderness Chaos Altar. I remember being at the library when the song would be playing. I'm out in the wilderness trying to get some PKing, and I got so many memories of the wilderness, but this one kind of sucked because I was fighting someone, and guess what? My library computer time ran out. You got 1 hour of library time every time you scanned your card, and then you'd be on a 5-minute cooldown. So after that hour came up, it logged you out, which meant I was going to log back into RuneScape and find myself in Lumbridge. Ugh. Me and my friends actually found out that if you took your parents' library card, you could just queue up and have a continuous loop of playtime. So you just scan your card, then scan your parents' card, and then scan your time on top. So it becomes like this, because you couldn't scan it twice in a row if somebody else was waiting. So you would just scan back and forth between the two, and you always had the computer. Librarian found out, and she revoked our privileges. She caught on to us. Guys, thank you so much for listening. This has been a wild ride. And I'm excited to see where the podcast goes from here. We have a lot to do, and I got lots planned, so it will be fun. Love you all. Stay safe out there. Be careful in the wilderness, and be nothing but excellent to one another. We'll see you on the next episode of the Wilderness Podcast. Goodbye. God, I'm sure I missed some stuff to talk about today, but